Hi everyone, so today's video is going to be about drugstore foundations and matte drugstore foundations to be precise, because that's one of the most common questions that I get asked when it comes to foundations, is getting a good matte foundation. And obviously not everyone can afford to buy the higher end ones, so a matte option at the drugstore is always nice. Now, I don't always tend to go for a matte foundation. I'm very selective with my foundations. I like loads of different ones for loads of different reasons, so there are loads that I like, but these are my top drugstore matte foundations, and I'm going to start with the kind of lower end of the drugstore first and then the higher end of the drugstore, but they're all drugstore foundations. So the first one is the Miss Sporty So Matte Stay Perfect foundation. Now this is claimed to be a 12-hour matte finish and shine control and suitable for all skin types. I've got it in the shade 2, which is the medium shade, and this is very inexpensive. It's around £3 or so. I think it might even be £2. But my issue with this is it has no coverage whatsoever. The colour of it is very light, even considering that it's a kind of medium tone. That's the colour of it right there, and I'll just kind of rub it in. It's very, very light and it doesn't offer much coverage, and it's got a very, very powdery finish. Now obviously if you're looking for a matte foundation, you want something that's not going to have any shine and that's going to mattify your skin, but this is just too powdery and it doesn't look natural on the skin. I feel like it kind of just doesn't blend very well. It sits on top of the skin, you can kind of see lines. It doesn't matter how well I try and blend it in, it just does not work on my skin. Now bear in mind that all these things are kind of my opinions on these products, so if they don't work for me, that doesn't necessarily mean they won't work on your skin, and my skin is oily, but it's not super oily. So this for me is just a kind of very blah product, if you know what I mean. I know that's not the best description, but it just doesn't do anything special and it just doesn't look very natural. Then moving on to a more positive note, a matte foundation that I love is the Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse. Now this has been around for ages and I know a lot of people really like this, but personally I just didn't think I'd like it. I had this image in my head of it being a weird texture, it not having much coverage, it looking quite dry, and I just never wanted to try it, didn't really like it. Then I got it from someone, I think maybe somebody had bought it and they said, oh, I've tried it, I don't like it, you take it, maybe you could review it. So I thought, oh okay, I'll give it a go. And from the first time that I used it, I was absolutely in love with it. It is a kind of whipped mousse texture, and the colour I've got is 040 Fawn, and basically it just gives a really lovely natural coverage. It's matte, but it's not too matte. It's kind of got more of a satin finish. It's not totally kind of blanks your skin out matte. It has still got a little bit of life to it, but it smooths over your skin amazingly. It looks really natural. It's undetectable onto the skin. If you have got any dry patches, it does cling to dry patches, so you might want to kind of exfoliate a little bit first and make sure you haven't got any. And for dry skin, I don't think this would be very nice, but if you're searching for a good drugstore matte foundation, then this is really fantastic. It just looks very natural. It's got a medium coverage that you can build up, and it doesn't ever look cakey. It works really well when you powder on top, because some foundations I feel look really nice and then you powder and they kind of lose it. This isn't like that. It's really lovely. Then the next one I'm going to talk about is one that I really like, but unfortunately the colour is way too dark for me and I need to kind of get it in a new one. Well, I don't need to get any more foundations because I think I've probably got about 7 on the go at the moment, which is ridiculous. But this is the number 7 Beautifully Matte foundation. The name says it all pretty much, and this is a really nice foundation because it's not totally matte. It has still got a little bit of luminosity to it, but it's very long lasting. It doesn't make my skin oily, and I find that no matter what foundation I use, I need to kind of top up and powder probably by about lunchtime, and then throughout the day a couple of times, because my skin is just oily and it comes through, and it doesn't matter what foundation I use. So for me, I don't really sort of look for something that's going to keep me matte for hours, because nothing does, and it's not good for your skin if it did either. But this one's got an SPF 15, so it's not great in flash photography. But the colour I've got is blonde, which is number 20, which is too dark for me. Maybe when I've got a really deep tan, which is when I got this. But it's not too expensive. I think it's around £12 or something like that, but then you always get those number 7 £5 off vouchers, so it's not too bad. The Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse is around £6, and this just gives a really lovely coverage, really natural, really good coverage. I'd say it's kind of like a medium to full coverage, and it makes your skin look really nice and really flawless, and just kind of smooths everything out but without looking fake, and I really like this. And then last but not least, the kind of hero of drugstore foundations here on YouTube, I think, is the Revlon Colour Stay. This is in the shade Early Tan, which is 340, and this is in the combination to oily skin. They do a dry to normal skin version, I think, as well, but this is really nice. Obviously the kind of natural thing that's annoying about it, which is annoying about a lot of foundations, is it doesn't come with a pump. So the packaging of it is a little bit annoying. The number 7 one does come with a pump, but it doesn't come with a pump. It is on the higher end of the drugstore. It's kind of around £12, I think, so it's not exactly cheap, but it's not like high-end foundation. It's oil free, and it's got just a really heavy coverage, but it's not cakey. You do have to be careful how you apply it. You have to apply it onto well moisturised skin and work quite fast, but once you do, it does give a very full coverage that will keep your skin matte for hours. It is the type of foundation that will keep you matte for a very long time, and it's very long lasting. You have to make sure that you kind of double cleanse and remove it really well if you want it to kind of not break you out on that by leaving it on the skin for too long. But I really like this one as well. So that is it. Those are my kind of 4 little mini reviews of matte drugstore foundations. Let me know if you want me to do any other kind of mini reviews of products in that sort of group, because I know a lot of people have been requesting me to do more reviews, but it's hard to do a review of just one product in a video. It has to either be really bad or really good, and if it's really bad, I don't want to kind of dedicate a whole negative video to it. I'll just mention it in a disappointing products video, that kind of thing. But as I said, let me know if you've got any other types of these videos that you'd like to see, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.